It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
It's the 1-year anniversary of the GovCast, the Dealcast, whatever we're calling this. 1 year on the air, top million, Victor Live.
Yeah.
It's Easter weekend. Pass.
Wow.
Woo!
Woohoo! We are back.
1 year later, we made it. We made it.
A whole year.
Somehow
1 year.
Somehow LinkedIn has not canceled us. Somehow we made it through all of the, I don't know how we made it through all of the LinkedIn, all the cuts and bad things. But somehow this program made it through a whole year, our 1 year anniversary. And Dre and Steve, we all made it together. Congratulations. Look out. If you don't love effects today, you're going to be it's going to be ADHD today. It's going to have to be, you're going to have to really focus to get anything out of this show. There's a lot of stuff happening. Woo! 1 year ago, listen, April 2nd, started this show off, was actually rebranded. It was the Dealcast at that point. Yep. And then somewhere along the way, we rebranded to the GovCast. And somehow Dre, Steven, and I made it through. LinkedIn has not pulled us off the air. So for those that don't know,
Stephen Bryan, the Dean of Gov Sales University. But Jack, wasn't it called the Hidden Jackpot at one point? Or was that just
the Hidden Jackpot Dealcast was the long title.
Yeah, very long title. Okay, yeah, because I remember the Hidden Jackpot was a big part of it.
And then people, the branding people got a hold of us and they were like, what's going on and what's happening?
I think there's a GovCast out there too. So
don't tell people. Dre.
Hi, Andrea. For those of you who have not been watching us for the last year, watch us for the next year.
Yes. Top million. Congratulations. We made it. Amazing. Oh, there it is. Old school. That's how. Look, let's leave that up. Let's see what we got.
Ew.
I'm with my not high speed internet at my spot because remember this was after COVID. Dre, deer in the headlights. What are we doing? Stevie B was sharp though. Steve had the lighting. He had Mia all queued up. There he was. The Hidden Jackpot Deal. That was our first branding. Boy, no graphics. That's it right there. We are top million LinkedIn lives. Not everybody can say that. You should add that. You got to add that to your LinkedIn profile. Oh, yeah, I did a LinkedIn live. Top million.
Are you going to give us a costume budget yet next year?
Yes. Yep. You can go to Dollar Store every month and buy 5 things. So you have complete autonomy. You don't even have to hand in an expense report. We're just going to trust you with your $5. You can go out and get a set of these bad boys. These were $1. Hats $1. I got some.
Are you wearing those all weekend? Are you going to see your grandson?
Yeah. The plan is to drive to Texas this weekend for the holidays. So, that's my plan. Any of you guys have anything cooking for a big anniversary? What do you got?
Well, we're having a little engagement party on Saturday.
We already did that. Didn't you already do it? People know you're engaged. Don't they? Another engagement party?
Yeah, but with like our, family and close friends.
Can't have enough of those for the holiday weekend. Stevie B, what's the Dean got popping off for the holiday weekend?
The Dean.
What do we got? What do we got? Is that celebratory champagne or what are you doing?
Celsius.
It's rosé.
There it is, making it happen. Steve, what do you got? What do you got going on?
Well, I've been blessed. My mother and father are both down here right now in South Florida, so I get to enjoy more time with them. So we didn't get to see each other during the holidays. So they came down. They both have their vaccine shots. So now we can spend time together, which is wonderful.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Have a great weekend. When we started, were you the dean when we started? Did you get promoted along the way? What happened? Yeah, I don't think you weren't the dean. Look right there. You were just a co-host of GovCast. Now look at you. You are now the dean.
Well, yeah, I
Big
can't
year for
believe
you.
it. It's been a great year, Jack, and I appreciate all the fun times that we've had on this GovCast, but also all the millions of viewers that we've helped along the way reach their government.
Millions and millions of the Rocks fans.
Those millions of people that tune in every week. It's a pleasure having you join us.
Are those prescription, your glasses?
No, they're just like tinted, like the LASIK.
Oh, blue?
Blue, yeah, blue blockers or whatever they call them. Yellow lenses.
Yeah, the dean.
I was just getting dressed up.
He's getting old. He's got to protect his eyes.
Yeah, Dean's come a long way. Yep. Look, go back to that picture. He had a full head of hair now. Look,
yeah. Let's do hair before and after. Let's see.
Oh, yep, there it is.
All right.
Dre's happier. Dre's a little happier now. See how we've come so far. So
yeah, that's it.
That's when my eyebrows were really colored in. I looked a little chunga.
Can you say chunga? You probably just offended somebody. We're gonna see how many graphics.
Keep it moving.
How many graphics can we get into the beginning of the show? Well, listen, a year ago too. In all seriousness, you watched the show. It was like the start of COVID. Folks were like trying to figure out what the heck was going on. I think the first 5 minutes of the show was all about COVID and what was happening and staying safe, and it was just chaos. And so it has really been an amazing last year. And so it looks like we're coming out finally. Folks get vaccinated, and keep your fingers crossed. Depends who you listen to, but it seems like we're on our way out. I'm vaccinated now, so I'm got my J&J. I'm all in, so one and done.
I don't know if I want to do it yet.
Yeah, for the ladies and the child rearing, I asked the lady. It's a little ambiguous. So it's a little, when you ask the lady who's giving you the shot, if you had a daughter, would you reckon her to get vaccinated? I don't know. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'll just wait that one out. But it's scary. Look, for those of you not gotten vaccinated, you get this paperwork. They give you this paperwork, and it says none of these are authorized by the FDA, and you're like, makes you feel a little funky. So. We'll see how it goes. But if you feel like getting vaccinated, do it. If not, just isolate and get through. But a year later, we are making progress. Steve.
Wow.
Yep. So let's see what I got today. There you go. I'm going to just pop off for the holiday. I'm going to mix it up. Cool. So what else? What else is going on? We got our anniversary. We made it through. We got the holiday weekend coming. And today we have a guest. We have Konstantin. I'm going to mess it up. Dimitriou. I think I got it out there. From GovContacts. He'll be here just to that product, how it'll help you sell to government. So he'll be just a little bit. Stevie B, something about the tournament. What do you got? Something you want to talk about?
Well, I'm upset that Nova's out, but I'm rooting for UCLA now, Jack. I always go with the underdog story, so let's go, baby.
A-clap, baby. A-clap. UCLA defeated Michigan last night, so went to UCLA for grad school, so I'm out there A-clapping all night. So
I'm sure you're happy about that.
We'll see how far. Let's see. You have something in your face, just like I got to bring that back though. I got to go full. See,
that's a nice stash, little whiskers.
It looks like it belongs on a 4-year-old girl, though.
Well, that probably fits about my mentality.
I like it. It's a good look.
You got to keep it fresh. You got to like a little something different. You can't get this anywhere. Somebody try to find these. That's not out of them.
Can I buy that with my $5 budget or no?
I might. I have to. What is it? I have to make sure they're COVID free. Got to sanitize them. Then I could send it. That's just.
No, I don't want to buy yours.
You can get them
you got to go get them. I think dollar store. Dollar store as a whole. Everything there is $1. What branding? Right. So yes. So good. The tournament's going great. Dre, anything else before we get to Konstantin? Anything non-Gov sales related?
Well, I was kind of excited that March Madness was almost done until I found out that baseball starts next week. So I was kind of hoping there would be a break between sports, but there's not. So
we've had a long year break. If all the non-sports fans,
it's been a weird year.
I like some time for my Law and Order and like girl shows, but then I have sports on TV.
Well, they're coming. The sports are definitely coming back now. So you
Yeah.
got to use them. And look, Dre, for the audience, normally not here. I'm sure all you know it's the last day of the month, last day of the quarter. Normally Dre would be out, but she's not going to tell you. Crushing it. She got so many things going on. She just slid in here. She's like, doesn't even feel like the last day of the month. We're
That's
crushing
why I
it.
got champagne at 12 o'clock.
Oh,
That's
congrats.
Grace team, what she's doing. Well, in the show, she kind of straight plays it. But listen, if you are trying to figure out how to settle the government, there's not a better person to ping on our team. She will show you exactly who to go call to. And she's super humble about it. But props to you and your team, all you've been doing this month, this quarter. So she's with us, gracing us today because they have been crushing it for the last month. Amazing, amazing. And Stevie B as well. He's going to be very humble about it. GSU, it's exploded. Steve's been crushing.
This is an easy job. Everybody wants to sell to the government. If you don't, then why are you tuning into this show? Because this is what we're all about. We don't talk about anything besides selling to the government on this show.
No, we do. We talk about everything but selling to the government.
Yeah, that's right.
But listen, I've done a couple podcasts lately. Seriously, like I really believe folks will look back 2 or 3 years from now and be like, how did I miss that? Some people miss the .com. Some people miss the housing bubble. Some people, miss Bitcoin. And like, so you're going to look back and be like, I missed the government thing because the government has more money because you missed it. Another $2 trillion thrown into the system just last week. So just want to encourage you or your friends. You don't have to watch our show. Who cares, right? But you have to get your company involved in government sales. It is an amazing opportunity. The people look back years from now and be like, the reason I got through COVID was the government was spending a ton of money, won myself a couple contracts. And so that is a great segue. We'd love to bring on today's guest, Konstantin Dimitriou. He looks so serious in that picture.
Konstantin, look at this guy.
What's up, Konstantin? How are you doing, brother?
Well, happy anniversary, first of all. Congratulations. Just found out this is your 1-year show. Many more wishes for many more of those successful shows.
Listen, top 1 million shows on LinkedIn. So don't bring us down today. You know what I'm saying? The bar is very high. So we slip a lot of pressure. So good luck with today's entertainment. So keep it hopping. Good.
It is. You've done good.
We've known you for such a long time. And so can you just share with our audience kind of your background? And then we'll dive into GovContacts, the unique product that you offer to folks as a way to sell to and connect with government agencies. But before we get there, tell folks how in the heck did you get here? Because that's not your American accent.
Exactly. It is a Southern accent, but it's Southern Greece. So, so one of the lucky things throughout my life is my father was actually a government contractor in Greece, doing road construction. So at a very young age, I was indoctrinated in all the good and the bad things about government purchasing. So my dad used to complain all the time that the government isn't paying at the right time, or they're always late unless you have a proper invoice. Or he used to come home and say a lot of the jobs are rigged or photographic. He would use the term there. It's almost like a photography of that particular vendor or that particular contractor. So at a very young age, I realized that even though the government has a lot of money and they're willing to spend it, you got to know how to go about it to win those deals and how to make them. So came here to the States, studied for many years and got involved in the business. And for the last few years, I've been very involved in the government purchasing and helping companies kind of just dig into that government marketplace. Even though Greece is far, it's no different than anywhere else selling to the government. A lot of rules and a lot of regulations.
Yeah, I think, one of the things when we have folks, Andrea would attest to this, when folks are thinking about starting to sell to the government and thinking about the government, it just seems so big and it seems so faceless. And it's like, where the heck would I even go and start? And so the initiative you're with now, I think, is just one of the keys to help folks to figure out literally putting a name and an email and a phone number to an agency. So why don't you tell folks about GovContacts?
Yeah, so I've been involved with, like everybody else, the bid and RFP world for many years, right? Now, in the public sector, there's a saying, and I'm sure, Jack, you've heard of it. If you're seeing an RFP for the first time, it wasn't meant for you. So one of the things that we tell, I tell people is, yes, there's a lot of opportunities to go out and just bid and sit back and hope for the best. But there's nothing more powerful than influencing those RFPs before they come out, understanding what the needs of the public sector are. And the only thing you can do that is by knowing people into the government space. So we've launched this site called GovContacts that gives you an opportunity to find out by title, by agency, who the decision makers are, and more importantly, who works there, right? Because as you know, in government, it's not like the private sector where if you know the president, you can get the deal. In the public sector, you can know the mayor and still not get anything. So you gotta really know your audience and be able to reach out and make a connection. That's what our platform does. Allows you to find out what their contact information is and gives you an opportunity to go in and speak to them and build relationships.
How is it different? Like, I know there's a series of products out there. What are you doing, Steve? You're drinking in the middle of his answer. What is that?
That's the time where you sneeze or you grab a sip of water, and then it got all away as soon as I did it.
What are we doing? We're in show. We're a year in. You got to be smoother than that.
Team GovCast.
You gotta put a drink just right.
Right,
here.
you're gonna do it. Get a freaking glass there. Come on, Steve.
Wow.
That's a big look. That's twice now. We got to get you some LinkedIn Live training.
All right, no more salt on the wound. Let's keep going.
So Konstantin, so how can you talk about your product and how it differs maybe from other things that are out there when folks think about contacts and reaching out to the government? How is GovContacts unique, and what does it do versus maybe other things? Folks hear about a lot of, you name it, from Zoom Info to Billy's GovContacts. Like, what does GovContacts do that's so different?
Yeah, so the number one differentiator is that it only does public sector. It only does federal, state, and education. When we say education, we include higher ed and K through 12. And that's a great point you brought up. I was on the phone with a customer the other day, and they said, I just got a subscription to Dun & Bradstreet, very well known nationwide, but they don't have that much about the public sector. And even Zoom Info and a lot of these large, well-known databases out there, their focus is mostly on the business side, on the private sector, and they do public sector as a side hustle. We only focus on the public sector. Millions of contacts and thousands and thousands of agencies. We're up to, I think, 10,000 agencies now. We're en route to hit 20,000. We're up to 5 million contacts, and hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be at 10 million contacts. So the vast focus on government is getting everybody's contacts. The second big differentiator is a lot of these Zoom Info, for lack of a better analogy, companies, they focus on the top people, right? They say, oh, we got the mayor, we got these elected officials. And as you know, when you sell the government, it's not a top down. You got to also work bottom up. For example, if you were selling and if you were introducing a new bulletproof vest, just knowing the chief of police isn't going to get you there. You got to get the police officer to say, I want this vest for you to get to get your product out there. So we're giving you access all the way down to that police officer to pitch your product. And if you're a small company, you're probably innovating. And if you're innovating, no one knows you. And building that brand, right? You can't just start. You can start from the top, but you got to work all the way down. Because unless people know your product, they're never going to ask for it. And if they're not going to ask for it, you ain't selling any.
Yeah, it's so true.
So I have a question. So let's say I'm a brand new startup company, right? Because I talk to these people all the time and they're like, how the heck am I going to compete with that Fortune 500 company, that company who's had their name out there forever? Like, where would you suggest I start just in terms of like the pitch, or who do I call?
That's a great question, Andrea. And there's different strategies and tactics, the way you approach. You must always find your target audience, and you got to work an angle where you have some credibility, right? So if you're in the law enforcement business, or if you work in your city or in your state, there's got to be organizations that know you better than someone else across the state. So I always advise people to stay local and slowly expand nationwide. We have data across the United States, right? So you can reach, anybody from Hawaii to, Boston, Massachusetts. But if you're located in Florida, you should start selling locally. As you know, I'm very big on medium and disadvantaged business enterprises, small, local, huge passion about helping small businesses work with the government. And government wants to work with you. But they got to you got to talk to them. They got to know who you are before they can start dealing with you. So yes, everybody knows Office Depot and Home Depot and all the big guys. But the reason they know them is because they're in the public spotlight all the time. You're not. If you're a startup, you're not in the spotlight. You got to interject yourself in the conversation, and you got to do this by talking to people and building that trust and credibility.
Thank you.
Yeah, Konstantin, I love the approach, and it's something we teach in GovSales University, is trying to go after that other 80%, stuff that does not go through the bid and RFP process. And I know contacts is the first step, right? You have to speak to someone for them to know about you first off, and then increase awareness of your business and how you can help. The one question I always get asked is like, well, who should I call, right? Like, now that you have all these contacts, like, how do you help people focus in on, who the appropriate person is? You gave the bulletproof vest analogy with, chief of police might not be the right person. You got to contact the police officer. So is there anything for someone new getting into government sales of like how to maximize that database to increase their chances of success with, talking with the right people, or you just talk to everybody and figure it out on your own?
Ghostbusters.
Exactly. Well, the people who So yeah, that's a great question, Steve. The people who do the procurement are tasked to go and getting those goods and services, but in reality, reaching just to them isn't enough. There's three major components when people buy, right? You gotta talk to the procurement people.
Yep.
There's what we call the economic buyer, the people who's gonna finance the thing. And you also have the user buyer. And there's also, depending on if you're selling a technology product, an IT department. So you got to get buy-in from multiple people. Government is so complex, and especially now with all the security challenges, that unless you get IT sign-off, or unless you're getting sign-off from every other department, it's going to be hard to move the needle. So as you just penetrating government accounts, you got to work different departments in, almost like a football, right? Block, tackle, keep moving the ball forward. So
I love the analogy there. Football. I thought they call it soccer in Greece, or is that an American thing?
They do, but you mentioned March Madness, so
no, it's true.
It's all about the sports.
Because and going back to that question though, because do you find out people have success starting with the procurement department, or starting with like the end user, or starting with those finance people? Like, just the first place that they go, like in the context, what is
right? You got to start with the end user. If your product, if the product that people, if the user doesn't want it, isn't convinced about it, you have no chance of winning the business, right? So you should always start with the ultimate user, and work your way around all the different obstacles. But to your point, I get a lot of questions. I don't have a cage number. What am I going to do? And I don't want to do federal. Or I get a lot of questions. I can find a lot of deals on sam.gov or BetaSam. So I tell people to, when they start out, to not focus on federal. Federal is an easier game if you go in as a subcontractor or under someone else who's very big, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult to be a new company, nobody knows you, and win a contract with NASA. There's a lot of things like FedRAMP. There's a lot of issues you got to deal when you're dealing with the federal government, and it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, totally agree with you on that.
So I know you said not to start with federal. So if I'm just pretending I'm all these other people. So if I'm a company and I'm on all these state and local bid sites today, and I came to you and said, Konstantin, I've been doing this for the last 6 months. I'm on all these bid sites. I'm responding to them, but I'm not winning any business. What would you say?
The same thing. The same thing that I said earlier. You're just too late in the game. You're just trying to work out deals that are probably not meant for you, or if you're just competing, you're not going to win. Why? A lot of these agencies, nobody gets in the public sector because they're risk takers, right? And we used to say in IT, no one ever got fired for buying Microsoft or buying IBM.
Yeah, I said that last week.
Yes.
So when you're an innovating company, when you are trying to disrupt the market, you really got to get into the bid and RFP process before it's published, so that you can at least influence and have people know you. I was on the phone the other day with an amazing guy who's been doing procurement for a long time, and he said, he was telling me, my company would issue different types of invoices based on the agency we sold to in order to get paid faster, because the people who were paying would like a specific invoice, the details, where the price was and so forth, and he would change his invoices so that he would get paid a month earlier than anybody else. Or I was on the phone the other day with another customer who was actually targeting hospitals, right? Public hospitals. And he wasn't able to find anything out there for public hospitals, and we had it. He immediately said, "Oh my God, this is great." If you and the last thing that I want to bring up is that a lot of the systems you find out have very static data, right? So bids and RFPs move very fast, and you can go in a bid and RFP and find a contact. For the first time in the history, we see a lot of turnover in government. Employees that are moving, so you knew Mary Jane, right, at your local school or district, but maybe she got promoted, maybe she went to another agency. So you need constant fresh data, even when it comes to contacts. One of the things we do is we refresh that contact almost every day with new data, and we refresh existing contact every 6 months, and that's important.
Yeah, I think there's two things I don't want our audience to miss, and I think we've hit on both of them, but I want to make sure they land well, which is, once a bid and RFP hits the street, normally an agency, they're all humans. You can feel like it's a big bureaucracy, but they normally have an idea who they want to use. They're just humans, right? It's like, just like when you go to Home Depot, you normally know which appliance you want to use. When you go to some retail store, you normally have a preference. Now, you might buy something else, but you normally have a brand that you like with your sneakers or your jeans or your athletic wear, whatever. That's the same thing on their side. Once a bid and RFP, what Coast is saying, once it hits the street, they already have some idea, hey, I want to use a certain company. You got to do a lot to overcome that. That's one. And then secondly, I think what's amazing about GovContacts, as Costa said, a lot of entities have some broad brush contacts, right? It's on their website, or here's the mayor, or here's the city council, or whatever. And what's really GovContacts is their contacts are super deep. So they'll go all the way through, not just from the elected officials, but all the way down to the, hey, who's the CIO? Who's the football coach? Who's the principal of the school? Who are the 19 teachers at the school? Like those, that allows folks to reach the end user, which is so unique, and that doesn't exist anywhere else. I think, if I understand GovContacts, is that right, Kostas?
That's absolutely right. Reaching down to the end user is your best bet to get your message across and find champions. You need champions, and when you're new, you need people on your side.
Yeah, I always look at the approach, proactive versus reactive. When you have the contacts, you're being proactive. You're taking control of your own destiny. You are forming those relationships, telling people what you do. Responding to bids is more reactive. Of course, sometimes to be in compliance, you have to go through that process, but you're just sitting back waiting for things to happen. When if you have the contacts, you can take the ball in your own court and just run with it and see what happens. And I prefer to do that, to be honest with you. And a lot of our GovSales University members have had success because they actually get deals outside the bid and RFP, whether it's discretionary threshold or, P card purchases. I've had people that get a same day sale just because the purchase was below the threshold. And it's just amazing because everyone thinks 6 months to a year to get a deal. And it's like, well, no, you can win a deal in a day, in a week. Are you talking to the right person? Do they have the budget? So contacts are great. So yeah, happy you're on the show today, Konstantin.
Yeah, that's right, Stephen. And one of the things I find out, a lot of people who are trying to get involved into this public sector business actually could use some GovSales University, because they come to us and they say, oh, what are really bids and RFPs? How hard are they? How do I get started? How do I submit it into the federal government? So a lot of people don't understand how complex the process can be. It's not always complex, right? Could be a quote. People don't understand it, and they can use that education and that feedback you guys provide. God bless you for that. But also, another thing not to be missing is getting into a contact. It actually will save you time, and you may find out why you should not participate. Okay, somebody can save you time and say, you know what, this is what's going on in the background. And getting that feedback early on will save you hours, and hours translate into money and opportunity.
Amen.
True.
So what about when somebody is pitching an agency? Because we've heard different feedback from our shows, right? They're like, hey, you want to go in and give some kind of value proposition, but also make yourself unique. Like there's a couple little checklists that some of these folks that we've had on have said to kind of abide by or go by. Do you have any advice for what your first outreach should be or what your pitch should look like?
Yeah, that was going to be my question. That's good.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
That is a great question, but it's heavily dependent on the product and the service. And I'll say this why. There's so many innovative companies that actually have products and solutions that are very hard to explain. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of pitching to get your value prop out. And sometimes it could be a discovery call where you're actually finding out what their actual problem is that they may have not realized that they have. We had a customer the other day who was selling a very complex IT solution, solving document processing and automation. And people in the public sector need a lot of education about these new technologies, as they're not keeping up the same way the vendors are. Now, if you're selling easier services, people that are, for lack of a better term, common services, you're a landscaper, then your pitch is different. So my advice to people is understand how easy your product service is to explain and how much the other group knows about, so that you can actually make a perfect pitch.
Konstantin, can you explain to our audience again, like, hey, what makes GovContacts super unique versus all the other? I think anybody that's in sales gets pinged with, oh, here's an email list, here's a phone list. Are you interested in all the people that attended this show? Like, I know I get those. Yeah, I get a ton a week. So can you talk to our audience? Really important. Hey, what is unique about GovContacts over all those other places that tell you they have contacts and here's the sales and do you want a sample of our list? I think it would be great for our audience to really know how unique what your company's doing to make.
Sure. Yeah, and I do that all the time, right? I go through the four main value props that we have on our product, right? Number one is sheer volume. We're the largest database in the United States for public directory. Number two, we refresh all the time. So we have the latest, greatest data. So whatever it is that you're trying to reach, you're going to get actual emails that work. And you're not going to get in trouble that you're sending stuff out to people that will never receive it. Number three, the data that we have spans all job titles. So you will find everybody. And number four, how easy it is to filter. So if you go to any of the other databases, even LinkedIn, you can go into LinkedIn and look for titles. There's no titles for the public sector. And LinkedIn is a big database.
Yeah,
they were bought out for $24 billion by Microsoft a few years ago. So the number four, key filtering, so you can zoom all the way down to the contact that you want for that agency, the state, and the title is critical.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, their service is amazing. It's so deep, and it really is the number one question we get all the time. It's like, hey, I want to go sell, but I don't know who to call, or I don't know who to contact. And so, starting with a service that Konstantin offers at GovContacts can be a world of difference, because there's some folks that love, to jump in like the bids and RFPs. I want to see them, blah blah blah. But the contacts give you a name. If I'm right, it gives you a name, phone number, title, email. Correct, Konstantin?
That's right. That's right. Title, email, phone number, and physical address as well. I joke with people sometimes, and I say that bids and RFPs are the gateway drug to GovContacts, because once you start working with bids and RFPs and you're not winning at the rates, then you sit back and you're like, what's going on? I'm just doing a lot of busy work, but I'm not winning much. And the answer is you're not talking to the right people, and you're not building that trust that you need to be influencing those RFPs.
Amen. So what's the best way for folks to reach out to you, find your organization? What's the best way? Couldn't recommend them enough. What's the best way to reach out to GovContacts?
The easiest way is to go to our website. We have a very, very comprehensive website called GovContacts.com. They can actually book demos there. We'll show them the platform. People can sign up for free and try it out, see the volume. So we're always available. We're trying to help, and especially we really pay a lot of attention to small and medium-sized enterprises. We want to get them in. Our website is there. We have real-time chat. I look at that all the time, and I talk to customers one-on-one. We're not a volume transactional business. We're really focused on making people succeed. And today's business, Jack, it's all about the outcome. When you promise people any type of subscription service, you're basically marrying into that outcome you promised them. It's not about, in the old days, you used to sell something and say, good luck. If you need any help, we have a professional services team for $1,000 a day, and they'll help you till the cows come home, right? That was the old, Oracle IBM way. Today, once you sell something, you're partnering with that customer on that outcome that you've promised them early on, in order to keep that lifetime value, them keeping them back on the platform and getting the renewals.
Yeah. Anything else? Any last thoughts, comments, anything we missed about GovContacts or what you guys are doing over there?
We're doing a bunch of things. As I said, not only we're just going to grow the database, we're actually very excited to come up with some partnerships, which we're going to announce fairly soon. So we'll keep you posted.
That's great. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. Could not recommend that service. For those of you trying to sell to the government, and it looks like this big, you're looking at this big wall, and you're like, I have no idea who to contact, where to contact, how do I reach them? Right? Maybe you scan the internet some. And again, there's typically a variety of solutions. What GovContacts does, if you're targeting just government agencies, amazing. They definitely have the deepest data set of any solution out there. So couldn't recommend them more. And you see Konstantin, super nice guy, will help you at any point. So ping him and his organization. They're doing great things. Konstantin, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Stay safe.
Thank you. Happy anniversary again. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. It's literally the number one thing people ask for. Like, soon as we introduce anything, hey, Rod, how you doing, bro? As soon as we talk to anybody about something to the government, their next, once we do whatever the initial thing is, the first thing is, who do I call? How do I call them? Right. And having the right that's like always the next thing. Any good salesperson is like, who do I call? How do I reach them? Right. To have that be able to like jump into an organization deeply, what GovContacts does is amazing. Could not recommend them any higher for their database. Amazing. Dre, you have your people. The contacts you get asked about a lot?
No, never. Yes, always. But you always want to know where to start, right? Like having data or, for example, like a bid, like those pieces are crucial. But if you don't know who to call from the agency, then you're kind of like shooting fish in the barrel.
Yes, totally true. Stevie B, anything else you want to share on the content of contacts?
I love it. There's nothing else to be said that hasn't been said, Jack. I think we covered all bases here. It's one of those things where you need to get ahead of the bid, form the relationships, get in early, try to avoid the bid and RFP if you can. And that's just a part of the game. So keep listening. I think people need to hear it 9 to 10 times before it sinks in. So I'll say it one more time. Get the contacts, name, phone number, email, form those relationships, and win government business.
Would people get the contacts or GSU first, Steve?
I would take GSU first, just because it'll give you the foundation of what you need to do. Like we even have a section called GovSales Secret. So people that joined us for the last webinar, I got a little taste of that. But it's like the cold calling. How do you cold call an agency? People are like, I don't know. It's like, I'm scared of government agency. So you have to learn how to have those conversations, how you follow up with the emails, and all that stuff is in GSU. So once you get that education, then I would probably take that next step up to GovContacts. So now you know who to call.
Oh, there they go. Hey, one last thing before we're out. This is the last day to put somebody in GovSales Hall of Fame.
I'm
thinking nominations go to midnight tonight. So a ton of folks in that. And so, again, if you know somebody that's in the GovSales space, whether they sell to the government, whether they're a contractor that helps folks sell to the government, or if you know somebody that's had a kind of, a lifetime in that world, those are some of the awards we're giving out. And again, it's just a way for us. We want to acknowledge some of the efforts and time and success that's been done in the government sales arena. And so today's the last day where we're taking nominations. So encourage folks to, it's just a nice way if you know somebody that's worked hard to, promote them and give them a nice award. They're going to get a huge trophy, and we're going to do a press release. And so amazing. So good. So listen, want to, again, just acknowledge 1 year on the air. We made it through top million. So awesome. Dre and Stevie B, thanks for your time. Our pay is not great for the show.
We did. Can we talk now? Like, I don't know what's going on. I always feel like something's going to happen. But no, we did get our budget this year. This is great. So second year, we have $5 an episode.
$5 a month. $5 a month. And now make sure you show up with some kind of prop.
Okay.
I may need a counter offer next week. I'll let you know.
All right. Yeah, it's not done. We're still, look, see, Steve, you've lost your touch. Dre is in the sales world. Look, she's like, I'm not taking the $5. I want a counter. So listen, we're out of here. Happy anniversary. Happy Easter. Passover. We made it top million 1 year anniversary. God bless. Stay safe. COVID's going down.